important thing about the prototype phase is to come up with a real problem. So just having it in our profile has made a big difference in getting noticed.
Myntra's mentorship was actually very helpful.
Choosing what works for you, that is a very, very difficult task.
Think of it as something that Myntra might want to take up.
In this growing stage where women are slowly getting into tech more and more, I think it's very important to, give a push forward.
Hello everyone, we are back with Myntra Hacker-ramp WeForShe. A new season is here and we have on board Team InnovateHers, who were the winners of the last competition, and they are here to share the best of their knowledge and insights to help you ace this year's Myntra WeForShe. So let's welcome them. So beginning with the first question, how did you all discover this competition? Amrita, if you'd like to go ahead.
Yeah, so I actually found out about Myntra WeForShe through a message that was sent in our placement cell group. So I wasn't really familiar with Myntra WeForShe because I think last year was the first time that they opened it to other colleges. So it was pretty new to us, and I usually participate in hackathons a lot. And I already knew Darshini and Shruti. So we decided to team up and thought of giving it a shot, and here we are.
So how did your team decide on the use cases, like how you will approach?
So initially we started looking at the app itself. So we wanted to see what all features were already there. So when we first looked at the problem statement, it was something that all of us could relate to. So it seemed a bit easier for us to brainstorm. So we just took the time and we just thought of our own solutions. Then we did a bit of research on Myntra and other similar competitive platforms to see, what other features are offered. And then, it was sort of like a critical phase where all of us just threw in our ideas and the others, discussed on why it would work or why it wouldn't work. So in the end, we ended up narrowing it down to one or two. We initially came up with a lot of different ideas, but then the feasibility is what narrowed it down. So I think that's an important thing to do to actually, view whether the solution is feasible or not before we, decide on moving on with it.
So moving ahead, what are some of the most important tips that you'd like to give students when approaching the prototype phase?
So okay. So the most important thing about the prototype phase is to come up with a real problem. So it could be something that you face or someone close to you faces while using Myntra or similar like e-commerce websites. But the key thing is to keep it real. It shouldn't be a made-up problem or it shouldn't be a not practical problem. The second tip would be to just keep it simple. Stick to maximum two features if possible, and always think of it from a product perspective instead of just a project. So think of it as something that Myntra might want to take up sometime soon, like they want to adopt it. You should always try to finish a minimum viable product before you start to add on more and more things, because that also will get very messy very easily. And most importantly, presentation is key, because the judges will have to go through multiple different submissions, and you want to make yourself stand out as much as possible.
Okay. Darshini and Shruti, if you would like to add anything.
Most of the people, what mistakes they do is they come up with a ton of ideas and they try to implement it all at once. But like Amrita said, it is very important to focus on the MVP first and build around it rather than bringing in a bunch of unrelated features.
What do you think was the toughest part of the challenge to each of you? Darshini, starting with you.
Okay, so I would say the toughest part was choosing the right model for our use case and something that works for us. So we have tons and tons of open source models that does a lot of stuff. But choosing what works for you, that is a very, very difficult task. But eventually you'll get to it, but you should be a little patient.
For me, it would be deciding and narrowing down on one particular problem that people face, because there are so many problems that you can think of. Some of it might not even be real. Having trust in your decision that this is the right problem that you want to decide on. So that was like the most difficult part, I feel.
Yeah, so I was working on the model side of things when we were doing a technical implementation. And like Darshini said, initially we started out with a lot of difficulty. We spent over, 3-4 days just trying to narrow down our model, get it to work. But then it was sort of difficult. But then at the later stage, we got to know that the industry was also facing the same problem. Whatever we were trying to implement, we found out that the actual platforms are also trying to do that, and even they took a few months to actually settle down on a model. So that was a bit comforting to hear, but yeah, that was a difficult part for us.
So then how do you think the mentorship from Myntra team helped you in, narrowing down on the problem and then taking the direction to solving it?
Myntra's mentorship was actually very helpful. All of them were very friendly and supportive. Our mentor was Ashlyn. So he guided us with how to, actually pitch the problem and how to narrow down on the particular solution. He gave us a point of view from the industry side of things when we were just focusing on implementing the solution. So the main tip that he gave us was to actually focus on the narrative and give it a proper storytelling kind of thing before pitching it. It was very helpful because no matter what sort of doubts we had, whether it was silly or whether it was too much when it came to the prototype stage, they were very helpful. So whatever we had questions about, they were ready to help us.
So, if each of you had one winning mantra to crack the competition, what would it be?
So I would say we never expected to be in the finale. So it was step by step process. So our motive was just to get through that current step, that current phase, and give our best in that particular phase and go through it little by little.
I would say pick a very good team. I was very fortunate to find these two. So, by very good team, I don't mean very technically strong people. We are all three from like different. All of us have different strengths. So, find a team that can help you put together like entirely, not only the technical aspect but also pitching it, bringing it into an idea itself. So, yeah, you need a very good team to be able to pull this off.
I agree with both of them. The team that we had was very fortunate because we complemented each other really well. And then for me and Darshini, it was our first hackathon, so we really did not expect to get to the finale. Like it just mattered that all of us were supportive of each other, and we just focused on the next phase and gave it our best. Tried like whatever we could to just get through the next phase, and that really helped us. Rather than focusing on the bigger picture, the finale, and stressing ourselves out, we just took it as a learning journey, and I think that was very important.
So, how did you work out all your team dynamics? How did you go through it? Was there any moments of challenge or any happy memories that you made as a team?
Actually, it doesn't happen a lot, but this was very natural to us. We had not worked together before this, but then suddenly when this came up, we just naturally realized that each of us had different strengths, and then it complemented really well. So Amrita here, her expertise is on the technical side, so she guided us with the implementation, the tech stack, and all of that. And I was focused more on the pitching of the solution, building a narrative with the features, and finally narrowing down on how and what to present exactly at the finale and in the PPTs as well. And Darshini was a good bridge between us both. She did good research and ideation, and she found out the right things at the right time, and it really helped us all come together.
Ashwini, what's your favorite memory from the entire journey?
I would say visiting the Myntra office for the finale. That was the best part. And particularly speaking, we got to have lunch with some of the really most senior people at Myntra, and discussing with them really gave me some new insights and new perspectives.
On-ground finale was really great. We got to meet a lot of different people, like even from different colleges. We got to network a lot. Everything that I got to explore in this, I guess, 2-3 months, those were really important to me.
How do you think this, impacted your career and grew your career prospects with the PPIs and the opportunity?
It has given us all a lot of confidence. So winning this has definitely boosted our profiles. Just having it in our profile has made a big difference in getting noticed and even starting conversations. So even for internships when you're sitting for placements, having this in our profile was like really good.
This just opened up a completely new door for me. I got to meet a lot of new people, and that networking was something that I really did not expect. And another thing is working in short amount of time, like getting things done in short amount of time.
The biggest change was that like we did not have the confidence initially, like Amrita said. Like it was our first hackathon, so we were very nervous at the beginning and all of that, but after this I could approach more hackathons with a bit of confidence. And then rather than the journey that led up to the finale itself was a big learning experience. Meeting all of those people, we got to know how different people approach different problems. And then we had a lot of guidance. Every person there, including the participants and the Myntra management and the HR involved, all of them were super helpful. So we got a lot of perspective on how to approach. So we were able to identify what worked, what didn't. So that helped us in participating in further hackathons and getting through the further stages.
Tell me about that moment when your names were finally announced as winners. What happened then?
Actually, we did not expect it at all. There was another team called InnovateHers. So we just thought it would be them. So we were just seated in our place because we were that mind blown that we did not expect it at all. We were actually the first team to present, and then we got the opportunity to look at the other team solutions as well. So when the moment was called, we just looked at each other's faces, and all of us were surprised. And for 5 minutes, we were just jumping with joy, calling our parents, calling our friends, and then we were just like jumping around, like we have to celebrate this. And what surprised me the most was that how supportive everyone was. Even the other participants, sometimes we expect them to be a little disappointed and not really reach out to us, but all of them were super supportive. Even though we just met, they celebrated along with us.
Beginning with you, Amrita, if you had to summarize the journey and give three important tips to the future participants, what would it be?
Like already Darshini already mentioned, we never started out with the intention to win. We just gave it our best at each and every round, and it just happened. So I think it is very important to do that. It is important to keep the final goal in mind, but at the current stage, it is very important to give your best in that particular time. Don't hesitate to give it a try because you think you're not prepared. So you never know if you don't try. So
Taking things as they come and focusing on the present is very important. Darshini, if any top three things that you'd like to cover?
Having a idea of the bigger picture is important.
Mhm.
Fast paced things like hackathon, it tends to happen a lot. So you need to keep the bigger picture in mind when you are learning, trying to learn something new.
So some things that I would like to share is that picking the right team is very important. I think that was one of the things that actually led up to the winner that we had. So we have to pick a team that complements us rather than all of us focusing on the same thing. You have to check the feasibility of every solution that you do before actually putting it in the PPT, because a lot of things seem impressive on paper, but they do not really come along well in the actual product itself.
Thank you so much. My final question is: since this was an opportunity to promote women's participation in tech and give a platform for females to come up and showcase their skills, what do you see in future about such opportunities?
I saw that moment as very promising because so many women that are into tech in one single room, that was a very, very beautiful moment for me. Because growing up, I did not really get to witness a lot of women in person who were into tech. And that dynamic changed. It shifted. Like it was almost a sudden shift when I entered Myntra.
kind of events kind of help us to be able to show what we are actually capable of. So I think it's a very cool way to promote women in tech.
Yeah, so generally people don't really, they question the point of why there should be women specific competitions. But growing up, when I took CSE in school, out of like 40, 50 students, only five of us were girls. So that really made me understand why such competitions are really required, because in this growing stage where women are slowly getting into tech more and more, I think it's very important to give a push forward so that everyone has the motivation and the courage to participate in more competitions and to showcase their talents. So participating in such competitions and promoting them is something that is very personal and that I feel is very important.
It's a beautiful way to end this live. And I hope more women are motivated after seeing this video and they participate in this competition and find confidence in themselves and their skill set. Thank you so much for joining me here.